Should we have that on? Alright. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the stream. So, because it's Dark Draft Arena still, I'm mostly going to be doing that, but I'll be accepting challenges, so if you want to send me a challenge, just send me a challenge, and we'll play whatever format you like. Otherwise, mostly I'll be playing some Dark Draft. I might try and get in another game with this elusive constructed deck, which we've been trying to draw. Hey, Bix and Cash. How's it going? We've been trying to draw this Avenging Angel for a long time, but it just hasn't been showing up. One game we drew, but we haven't been able to play it. And there's someone in the arena right now, so I'm just going to jump into that. The Elusive Angel, that is right. That is the name of the deck right now. Alright, I'm up against Andre, T14. I think Brave Squire is probably my pick here. I just think this card is very good. And you can play it in pretty much any deck. It's a way that lets you remove something that costs a gold for 0, because you'll frequently be in situations where you just have something with +5 attack. Will let it break the thing that you're blocking, or that gets blocked. And you also get a human token, which means that the human token can do something. It can block a big attack, or you can just attack your opponent a couple of times. So I think this is my pick here. Flame Spike is also a completely reasonable pick here. It recycles, and it either gets you closer to lethal, or you can take out something like a Muse. So they're both good. I think I would definitely pick between those two in that pack there. Draw turn 2. There's 3 in the deck. It should definitely be it should definitely be more frequent than it's been. Alright, we've picked up a Brave Squire, I think. So I could go Fires last year and try and build something that's more aggressive. But we did get past the Fires of Rebellion. I wouldn't mind just picking up this Rescue Griffin. I really like Rescue Griffin. I think it's underrated. The fact that it's just big enough to block something that is really big. It can block a Strafing Dragon or an Angel of Death without breaking. So I'm just going to go for the Rescue Griffin here. I think most people would probably be better off going Fires of Rebellion and basically just trying to get that extra aggressive style deck. So here I'm probably going to take the Crystal Golem, or maybe the Force Mage Apprentice. It's kind of debatable. Yeah, I'll go with the Force Mage Apprentice. I mean, basically this will help us with cards like Muse and Guild Demon. I tend to play slower style, so I like that consistency that comes with the more defensive style decks, but some people will opt for the more aggressive ones, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think you'll win. It's much easier to win with an aggressive deck. So here, Draka is a card that I don't want to take because I don't have loyalty for it, and I prefer. I want to get some graveyard, some Hiscar Pile Banishment, so I'm going to take the Heinous Feast. Guild Demon is. I just prefer Guild Demon over the Thrasher Demon, because I really like. I've talked about how much I like Guild Demon. It just does so many things for me. Alright, what do we want here? Probably one of these 0-cost cards again. I'm going to just take Corpsemonger. Maybe I can try and build a deck that abuses 0-cost champions, because right now we do have a lot. We have Corpsemonger, Guild Demon, Rescue Griffin, Force Mage Apprentice, so that's 4. So anything that interacts favorably with 0-cost champions is going to be very good in our deck. So I'm going to pick up my first board clear here. I think this is a good pack to pick up. And I'll probably just move into Evil and try and take this Murderous Necromancer, which has loyalty 2. This card's great. Basically, it just gives you a bunch of bodies for your gold, and then they have to get rid of this, because otherwise, every turn, you're going to get rid of one of your opponent's champions with it. Alright, so let's see what we got here. I'm probably going to take the Warrior Golem. Even though I have a lot of 0-cost cards, I don't have any recycle. So I am happy to pick up another recycle, and I think this will go with potentially my game plan of picking up some synergy. So we're looking for things like Reset, Time Walker might be hard because we don't have a lot of Sage cards, but No Escape or Reusable Knowledge would also be nice. Yeah, I know. It's nice actually that we got past the War Machine, because if it was in my first pack, I think I would be obligated to take it. But because it was passed to me, by not taking it, I don't have to worry about my opponent playing it. We don't have to worry about that card anymore. Battle Cry. I think having more draw twos would be good in this deck. It's possible I'll get some use out of the effect. I just don't have that many off-turn ways to spend my gold, and Banishment is more of a situational card. So it's not a card that I want usually in my hand. Alright, I'm probably just going to take Amnesia here. I think Rift Summoner is also very good, but I just prefer Amnesia in most of my decks to Rift Summoner. This card really does a lot. But if we take Amnesia, it's actually quite likely we'll shut our opponent off of discard pile Banishment. We've gotten Amnesia, Heinous Feast, Guilt Demon, and Corpsemonger, which leaves, I want to say there's only one cost discard pile Banishment left. There is Corpse Taker, but that one's pretty hard to use. We did pass that in our first pack. And I guess we passed Reset, so we won't see Reset this draft. So I'll take the Zealous Necromancer, and probably going to be Forked Lightning. I might try and get some Sage loyalty, so I'll take the Force Field. Forked Lightning would also be a reasonable pick here, but if I see a loyalty to Sage, I think I could probably go into Sage here with the amount of Sage I have. It's a little light, but 5 out of 15, that's a third of my deck is Sage. Alright, so here, probably, I mean, I don't really want the Shadow Imp, it doesn't do that much for me. I don't have loyalty 2 to support Hunting Raptors or Worm Hatchling. I'm going to take Royal Escort over Wolf's Call, because I don't really like Wolf's Call very much. It just doesn't do very much. And I like how the Royal Escort can potentially protect some of the more nefarious evil champions that can reuse themselves over and over again, like Guilt Demon, Corpsemonger, Murderous Necromancer, and Zealous Necromancer, and Force Mage Apprentice. We have a lot of good things to protect in our deck. So here, probably, I don't need discard pile Banishment, so I don't think I'm going to take the Grave Demon. It's probably going to be Martial Law Rage. Yeah, Erratic Research. There is Erratic Research, but Erratic Research costs a gold, and there's Grave Demon. Ooh, there's our No Escape. I might just pick that. Smash and Burn is also very good. So I'm somewhat tempted to take the Smash and Burn, but because we have a lot of discard pile Banishment, I think our opponent taking Smash and Burn is not a big deal. And No Escape is going to be quite nice here, because we're frequently going to use it on our turn to break an opponent's champion and get back a really high value zero cost champion that we can use right away. Like, we just have so many zero cost champions that I'm kind of expecting our opponent will struggle to deal with all of them. So here I'm definitely going to take Citadel Scholar, and then it's between Priestess Evangeline and Avenging Angel for me. The reason that I want the Citadel Scholar is, again, we don't have very much recycle. I have the one recycle with Amnesia and the pseudo recycle with Warrior Golem. So the real question is, do I want an Avenging Angel, which is a Punisher? We don't really have any. Or, oh, okay, picked for me. I don't actually know what happens if I only have one card picked when the timer runs out. It'll probably pick 2 random ones. Yeah, I know. I should have gone for the... Oh, yes! We got it! No, we're not going to draw this game either. Alright. So, I'm actually somewhat tempted here to take Keeper of Secrets, because, again, our opponent might have no discard pile Banishment. Completely shutting them off is actually quite nice. So I might just go for the Keeper of Secrets. I think Erase is probably the best card in general, but also it's not very good against us because we have so many zero cost champions that we get returned to hand. I'm going to take the Psionic Assault here. Again, well, maybe not. I don't have very many ways to get it back. Really want to take it, but I only have one other way to recall it, so I'm going to take this Draw 2 here instead. Yeah, I do have enough zeros. You can't go wrong with Muse, though. I know, I'm probably going to run out of cards in my hand. I'm going to just draw 5 zero-cost champions and mulligan them all away for 5 more zero-cost champions. But there's just something to be said for the critical mass when you have enough zero-cost cards, enough zero-cost champions, I should say. Not just zero-cost cards in general, but threats that are for 0. at a certain point they start becoming much more valuable because your opponent just has trouble dealing with all of them. Probably going to take the Dark Assassin here because I do have loyalty for it, and it'll help us remove just random cards that our opponent plays. It also synergizes quite nicely with Royal Escort, and the fact that we just have so many other things with 2 health. Alright, how many 1-cost evil cards do we have? We have 4. Spying Demon will probably be 2 most of the time. I am probably going to take Inheritance of the Meek, and I don't think I have enough champions for Misguide Heralds, so the question is, do I want to draw 2 or Spying Demon? I think I'm going to go with the other draw 2. This is also removal. I just need more ways to spend my gold at this point, so we're rounding out our deck here. Let's see, it's probably going to be Plague here. Again, I don't have that much recycle, and I really like both sides of this. Sometimes we randomly will hit a Thought Plucker with a Plague and draw 2, so it's very nice to just have. And I don't think we've seen any one health champions except for Force Mage Apprentice that are really valuable to stay in play. So it's possible our opponent is playing something like High King or Necromancer Lord that will also be a nice target. So here, I don't have any real. See, I have Zealous Murderous Necromancer is pretty much my only establishing play. So I'm going to take this Triceratops for sure, and then the Necrovirus will be nice because we'll have loyalty pretty much constantly. This is actually a deck where I could take Fairy Trickster because I have so many 0-cost cards. Maybe I'll just take it to mix things up a little bit. We'll take the Fairy Trickster here. I don't play the Fairy Trickster that much. Yeah, Sonic Assault would be very nice if I was able to actually get more 1-cost stage cards, but I have 3, I think, so I wouldn't really recall it very many times. Alright, the opponent is going first. Don't want this Avenging Angel. I only really need 1 draw 2, so I'm just going to hold on to these 2 here. I'm going to keep this draw 2, and I'll keep Guild Demon as a way to block just random rampaging worms or steel golems, that kind of thing. And we know that our opponent doesn't have Lash or Rage in their deck because we have both. So it's nice that we don't have to worry about random 0-cost breakthrough. Yeah, it is a big update. It's fixing some. It's changing the targeting system a lot. So basically, it has a lot to do with the way that canceling happens, and then also I'm not sure if it's being rolled out in this update or if it's coming very soon, but we are going to be making the shift towards undos, which are basically the same way it works in Physical Epic if you are playing in a tournament, is that as long as you haven't gained any information, you can just take back your plays. So for example, if my opponent played this Plague Zombies and then they thought, oh, actually I don't want to play this Plague Zombies, they could undo that and the Plague Zombies would go back to their hand. The zombies would go away. But they'd have to do it before passing to me. Alright, so here, this in the advantage. I know, right? Here, this is an example of where Rescue Griffin really shines. Because our Rescue Griffin here is going to block all of these zombie tokens, taking out 1, and then we don't take any damage. If I was them, I would probably, after playing the Plague Zombies, have just passed. Let my opponent try and do something. I mean, there's something to be said for the fact that this is almost always going to be 6 damage to your opponent, which is quite nice. But because they spent their gold, if I had a really valuable play here, I could make it free, basically. I mean, if I had I'm trying to think of something that would be a crazy block. If I had an Angel of the Gate or something like that, that would just block this and survive, or a Lurking Giant. I mean, maybe they have Vanishing, so they're not really worried. They're going to draw 2 here. Or they have a Feeding Frenzy or something. Yeah, maybe I just should have kept that Angel anyway. But this is fine. Get him for 3. Usually, in my opinion, if you don't really know whether to be aggressive or not, just be aggressive. Because you need to close out the game somehow. It's good to force your opponent to react and give you more information. So here I'm going to get rid of that Worm Hatchling. drawing 2 cards in the process with this Force Mage Apprentice. And it's possible that they'll play some big scary thing here, but we have their turn to deal with it if we need to. And Guilt Demon plus Martial Law can block something like a Lurking Giant by making 5 human tokens. We could also play Guilt Demon, block something, and then play Battle Cry to make it a 6/5 airborne for the turn. Alright, and this is a good example of why Erase is not very good against our deck, because here, the fact that Erase wasn't just draw 2 was a significant downside to them. In other words, this Erase here was worse than just drawing 2. Yeah, I'm also changing the names of some things. I think showing current here is changing. Alright, let's see. So I'm going to be probably just taking this 4 here. I mean, if our opponent hits us for 4 and then passes, then I'll start my turn. So crack back for 3, and then probably just Guilt Demon to eat 2 cards out of the discard pile. And then I'll have a faster clock. Alright, they're going to Citadel Raven, getting back Plague Zombies, I guess? Maybe Erase. I hope they get back Erase, because Erase is not very good against us. And whenever this attacks, you get to return an event. Alright, they got back Erase. That's what I like to see. So we are going to go ahead and Guilt Demon. Probably just get rid of that Plague Zombies in case this somehow survives. And I'll play Battle Cry right away in case they have a 0 cost way to deal 2 damage. And now, our draw 2 basically gets to take just to give us a Guilt Demon, because normally I'd be playing this Guilt Demon to trade with the Citadel Raven here. But yeah, Battle Cry is really quite a nice card. You can kind of just save it for times where you get the chance to just have it be more than a draw 2, which is really all you're looking for. Can't really flash fire here. Alright, they're going to Corpse Taker back their Citadel Raven. So they have Citadel Raven Erase in hand. Now, one thing that is relevant is that they're almost definitely just going to want to erase their own Corpse Taker. So we don't want that to happen. Probably just going to Force Mage Apprentice to shoot it for 2. I could do something else, but I could lash it. I'm just going to use the Force Mage Apprentice though. The reason is I want them to be at a disadvantage if they decide to erase here. So right now, if they erase, they either have to remove their own zombie token or give me back one of my 0 cost champions. And as far as attacks go, I usually just try to make as many attacks as I can before playing cards, unless I have a good reason to. So that time I just played the Force Mage Apprentice first so that I could get rid of the Corpse Taker before my opponent had initiative with the erase. And now, the thing is, just drawing 2 feels pretty weak because I'll have to discard a card, so I'm just going to pass here. I don't have a good follow-up. I think our opponent is just going to start their turn. They probably really only have Erase as a way to spend their gold right now. So they're happy to do that, but I just don't really have anything I can do with my gold. I could have played a Plague instead of Force Mage Apprenticing, but I'm very happy with this outcome. Right now, we are at a severe board advantage here. And Citadel Raven is a pretty bad play for them to make right now. Alright, they're just going to come in for 4. Group attacking is a little odd. I would almost always just single attack here, but it doesn't matter too much because pretty much the only way they'd get really blown out is if I had one of those 0 cost to deal damage to each attacking champion cards. So if I played Spike Trap or Hands from Below right now. Alright, I'm going to remove both of these. Keep the Rescue Griffin. Very nice play for them. I'm going to go ahead and use this Plague here because I want to use it while I have cards in my discard pile. I don't want it to be stuck later. And I don't think we have any real recursion in our deck. So I'm just going to go ahead and banish not the champions in case the opponent plays Army of the Apocalypse or something. We'll do it like this. Not that it really matters, but it could come up. Alright. Come in for 3. And then what I'll probably do is just play this Murderous Necromancer, and then I'll pass with 8 cards in hand. I'm probably going to erase Murderous Necromancer, which is fine. Like I could do something like Horsemonger, banish their Worm Hatchling, pass, but if I Murderous Necromancer, build 2, and they erase it, I get 3 zombies, they draw 2. That's perfectly fine with me. I'm probably going to show the Bitten, because I'm going to play the Zealous Necromancer on their turn. I think so. I think that's correct. And I'll just pass here. The reason I'm showing the Horsemonger is because I'm probably just going to play it here after they play Race. I wonder if T14 is a reference to something like Terminator or something like that. I don't know. Or this is the 14th iteration of Andre. I don't know. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll get all the way down to the Angel. Alright, and they're just going to play that, which is fine. It feels like they're going to just clear the board here, but I'm going to play this Horsemonger anyway and go ahead and get my value. Could even have attacked for 4 if I wanted to. But 12's a little low, so I'm happy to get up to 15. I'm kind of expecting them to start their turn, make some attacks, and then just break everything or banish everything. Maybe Reap and Sow or Apocalypse. Like, I'm very happy I don't have to play around a War Machine here. Outcasts Andrei. Outcast, is that like the video game Outcast, the horror one? I haven't played Outcast, but I've seen a stream of someone else playing it. Alright, they're just gonna go ahead and play that pass. I mean, I'll just probably make a pretty passive play here and play Zealous Necromancer, drawing a card. I don't really have anything crazy to do with my turn, with their turn. Gold. So, go ahead and drop a Zealous Necromancer. This is going to give us a lot of zombies. Oh well. I could draw 2, but I don't really have anything to draw into that would be really crazy, so I'm just going to add to the board in a way that keeps me at 8 cards in hand. So I'll go ahead and just immediately break that, and then in general, Crystal Golem is scarier in the discard pile than Fire Spirit, so I'm going to banish that one. And I got 1 zombie from activating Murderous Necromancer, and then also 1 zombie from Zealous Necromancer, because another creature was broken. So then I'll attack with this Rescue Griffin here. So we haven't spent our gold yet. So far, the opponent is at a pretty big disadvantage on board. We'll see what happens. Maybe they have something like a Wave Transfer. Maybe, I'm trying to think what they would have. Maybe Dracospire? Based on their line? Pop duo from the 90s. Oh, I see. The reference just went over my head then. Alright, so they do have some discard pile banishment. Okay, they're going to go ahead and Make it so our Rescue Griffin doesn't do anything. That's fine. Let's continue. Let's pelt away with our zombie tokens here. We have 3, so right now we get in for 5 if they block two of these zombies. Alright. We're going to go ahead and block this one. I think we're going to lash our zombie token, which will kill the Shadow Imp, and then we'll deal 3 damage to them. So it's like a Fireball them plus. I could even play Brave Squire here if I wanted to go super in on this zombie token. That would be 3, 8. That would be 8, and then I would hit for another 3, which would be 11. So they'd be at 6. If I had a Avenging Angel right now, I would do it. It's fine. It's true. Before my time. Alright. Can't attack with our zombies. What do they have? If they have the one that makes their whole team bigger. I don't really have a good play to make. I'm probably just going to recall the slash and play it, so that way I'm basically spending my gold to deal 5 damage to them. Because I don't really like any other play that I could make here. This is basically I'm spending my gold for 5 damage to them, which is pretty fine. Let's put them at 7. Yeah, I mean it's especially strong when you have a full grip. But what you'll notice is that my deck doesn't really punish, so even though Andre's been spending their gold first almost every turn, it hasn't really mattered. I mean, I could just go for the win here, but I'm just going to pass because I'm in such a dominating position. I could go ahead and try and play Keeper's Secrets attack, Brave Squire it, but could get blown out by something, and there's no real reason to do it. Basically, the opponent has to clear the board here or they lose. And then I'll make 5 humans with martial law when they do that. Yeah. No, Lash is great like that. It's a great sink for your golds in this case. Sometimes I'll put Lash in decks that don't have a lot of ways to spend their gold, because sometimes you'll just recall Lash. It's a good play. Recalling a card is like drawing 2, because if you have 3 cards in hand and you play a draw 2, then you go up to 4 cards in hand. Same thing happens if you have 3 cards in hand and then you recall Lash. You'll go up to 4 cards in hand. Same amount of card advantage. Looks like both of our 1-cost champions got bounced, so I'm just going to replay this Zealous Necromancer. Doesn't really matter. To make a bunch of human tokens, but I don't think I want to, since these zombie tokens here have to be answered. So if they have a flash fire, then I don't want to play the martial law. Alright. Let's just go ahead and activate this. I'm always activating the Corpsemonger before attacks because the 3 health is very nice. If the opponent just happens to play a board clear here, a zombie apocalypse or wave transformation, you might as well just get that benefit. When you're so far ahead, you definitely want to activate your expendabilities, expend powers first before making attacks. Right? Lash is a very satisfying card. On paper, Rage is better than Lash in every way except for the recall. I mean, sometimes you'll deal 1 damage to your opponent's champion, but you don't do that very often. So if you want to play Lash in your constructed deck, you want to find a reason to play the Recall, which isn't irrelevant. Alright, I'm going to take our Zealous Necromancer for the turn, so it'll come back to us next turn. So I'm just going to attack one at a time here, and if I get in for 6, then I might even just Brave Scar one of these zombie tokens, because that'll be lethal. Now, the thing about Zealous Necromancer is it doesn't trigger if a non-zombie champion is broken. Sorry, if a zombie is broken. So, it doesn't really... It's not a big deal if a zombie gets blocked here. They don't get another zombie. That would be ridiculous. Right, I'm going to try and push through with this Brave Squire here and just see if we win. Good use of a 0-cost card just to try and win. And basically the only answer to this would be Hasty Retreat, or Fumble, or Second Wind. I like his Consume. Possibly fine. Alright. We got there. Boom. So that's the game. Alright. Probably just play another game of Arena. Doing some drafting. Drafting's nice because you kind of get a different deck every time. But it's not as random as Random 30. Boom! That's right. I should put more emphasis into that. I gotta make these more. I gotta have something to put in the thumbnail. You know. Double Lash better than spending your gold? Something like that. Alright, sorry. I just took the Flash Fire there because basically none of these cards are particularly appealing to me. They're all more archetypal, so I think I would want a very specific deck before I took any of these. Basically, Mighty Blow is better if you're very aggressive because you can force your opponent to spend their gold first, and you can have this be a 1-cost, get 10 combat. I think I'm probably going to try and go into Sage here. Just take this Knight of Alara. Try and make this a Sage deck. Maybe Sage Wild. Alright, I'm going to take the Wolfspite. It's nice to have ways to deal with small champions, and this is a recycle card, so I pretty much always like to have some recycles in my deck. It's nice to have that Wolf token as a chump blocker, so this card is very versatile. It fills a lot of roles. It can stop a big attack, it draws you a card, it can take down small champions, or even just help you win a trade. Like if you have a Grave Demon that's being blocked by a T-Rex, then you can finish off the T-Rex. Yeah, they click bait, exactly. They click bait. Alright, let's go with probably Wither here. Wither Flashfire, we could try and do something with Drinker of Blood. So if we see Drinker of Blood, we could pick that up. Probably just going to take a board wipe here. I like to have at least one. And especially recently, I've really been punished for not taking the early board wipe, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick that one up right now. This pack, it's a little bit... I actually think Veldon's very good. But I also think Urgent Messengers is very good. They're both quite good. And we have Wither and Flashfire, so multiple human tokens might be harder for our opponent to deal with. To use some of the best answers to them. I might just take the Urgent Messengers. I think Veldon... It's kind of a question of, do I take the card that it could be very strong in our deck, or do I take the card that is solid in pretty much every deck? Alright, I'm going to take the White Knight, just because it's an on-turn, it's a nice establishing play. So I like to have more establishing plays. Normally in that first deck, I had almost no establishing plays in the entire deck. It was basically just 0-cost champion go was the whole deck. But it worked out pretty well. And I'll take this Hands from Below because, honestly, people really like to take Thought Plucker and Crystal Golem and I forget the 9/4 with Unblockable. Anyway, it's great against unblockable cards, and people really like to take those in Dark Draft. So I pick Hands from Below and Spike Trap highly for that reason. Ooh, it's the Avenging Angel. Oh man, but Lightning Strike's better. Oh, oh, I didn't pick either. I wonder if it'll just give us Avenging Angel. That's what happened last time. Oh man. But I think Lightning Strike, for here, it's definitely Lightning Strike is the best card in this pack for this deck. The reason is, dealing 5 damage to a champion. The Avenging Angel! We're gonna get in our opening hand again. Alright, I'll take a race here. And it's a nice answer, and I do want to pick up more Sage cards to make this Knight of Alara better. I could actually take this High King here and go good. I have a couple of good cards. It might be a little bit tough to pull it off, but I think I can do it. Ankylosaurus is also reasonable. It's a solid 0-cost card. It's a threat, basically, so you play it and then pass. Let's see, I don't want to take Fire Shaman here. It's not very good in my deck. Secret Legion, I don't have a lot of human synergy. Resurrection is actually not a bad option. It works very well with Avenging Angel and High King. And Reaper So is also solid, always. I guess I have Wither and Flashfire, so I'm just going to take the Resurrection. I think Resurrection is underrated. I think it'll work well in our deck. Yeah, I'll have to keep her this time, the Angel Meme. Oh man, the Elusive Angel. Alright, probably going to be Winter Fairy, Temporal Shift here. I already have a couple of ways to clear the board. I do have a couple of tokens. I'll take the Inheritance of the Meek. You know what? I'll take it. Inheritance of the Meek does work very well with High King, Urgent Messengers, Hands from Below, and Wolf's Bite. We have Wolf's Bite and Flashfire and Wither, so... Or rather, Flashfire and Wither, so the opponent is not likely to have many answers to tokens. Here, it's probably going to be Guilt Demon. I just like to have that first card that interacts with the discard pile. And then after that, I don't take discard pile interaction very highly, but I also think Guilt Demon is a solid card that you can pretty much play in any deck. We are all over the place color-wise. I really wanted to go Sage, and I really wanted to go good, but now I think I'm going to go Evil and take this Necromancer Lord, and I'll probably also pick up that Time Walker. I think I'll be able to get Loyalty 2 for it. I don't think I can swing this Draka here. The Loyalty 2 is going to be too hard, and turn is not very appealing. I mean, it just isn't as spiky as these other two cards, which can just be game-winning. Necromancer Lord and Time Walker. Yeah, sure. So an Establishing Play is a card that I don't mind swinging my gold on my turn, if there's nothing in play. So, in other words, it's a good play if the board is empty and it's your turn. Alright, we definitely want Angel of Mercy here, because it will bring back our Avenging Angel. So we're definitely going to take that. But it is also good with White Knight and High King. And then it'll probably be Thrasher Demon here. I mean, I think Battlecry might be a slightly better pick in this deck, but I do want to clear out... We're just so stretched with these loyalties that I think it's better to pick up some more evil cards. So I'm going to take the Thrasher Demon. So, examples of establishing plays in my deck. There's the Drinker of Blood, but also Amnesia. Like, I wouldn't call Necromancer Lord an establishing play. I mean, it is. It can be used as one, but it's unlikely that I'm probably going to take Amnesia here. It's very nice to be able to have a way to clear the board, have a way to banish the entire discard pile. It does recycle, which we don't really have any of. But the Drinker of Blood would also be quite good in this deck. It's definitely between those two for me. I just don't have any way to break all champions. I have Rack's Displeasure, which is a little bit conditional because there are demons. So I don't think I'm going to try and push that. I'm going to take the Keeper of Secrets here because if you have a couple of Sage 1-cost cards, this card starts becoming very good. You can recycle multiple times off of it. And then Time Bender and Murderous Necromancer. I think Murderous Necromancer is better. And I have plenty of Sage cards right now, so I'm going to try and fill out those evil cards. It's interesting here is that with Resurrection and Necromancer Lord, and some of these really nice, and Time Walker, I might just take the Misguided Herald here. It's quite a solid pick here. Wave Transformation is also very good. Lash, I don't really have the champion base for Lash. I'm probably gonna just try playing Misguided Herald in this deck. I have plenty of board wipes. Yeah. Basically, like, I would not call Avenging Angel an establishing play because I think spending your gold, basically, it's like this. Imagine every time you spend your gold first, your opponent is going to spend their gold on a 7/7 airborne. Alright? They're going to play a 7/7 ambush airborne. So, like a Dracus Enforcer, but no loyalty. These are all good. I'm going to take both of these because this is a nice small removal, and then Fumble is just crazy good. For these slower decks, which we have a deck that isn't going to be very aggressive, it's going to take a while to get going. You can tell because Necromancer Lord, champions like Murderous Necromancer and Angel of Mercy are all way more powerful if the game goes longer. Here, this is a tough choice. It might be Arcane Research is always solid in every deck. I think Smash and Run is also good, but I actually have plenty of ways to spend my gold. Yeah, so basically, if the opponent spends their gold to play a 7/7 ambush airborne, alright, was your gold worth spending? So, for example, if it's my turn and there's nothing in play, I would not play a Time Walker without Loyalty 2. If we're just at the start of the game, because what's going to happen is I'm going to take the Gold Dragon. I'm going to take the Crystal Golem. I think Crystal Golem is very good, and I don't have to worry about Hands from Below because I have it in my deck, so I just have to worry about Spike Trap. Like it's the opponent's going first here, so Crystal Golem is going to be fantastic. And it's foil. This hand might actually be perfect. I think this hand has everything I want in a hand. I have some interaction, I have a safety net, I have an off-turn play that's good if my opponent just draws 2 or does something passive. I have a way to deal with a small champion. I could mulligan away this Thrasher Demon, but I have plenty of card draw in my hand, so I think this will be good. If my opponent just passes to me and my turn starts, I can play the Thrasher Demon and attack. So this hand might be a perfect starting hand. Yeah, so anyway, I keep having to do things, but yeah, so usually if your opponent just slaps down a 7/7 airborne, you don't want it to be, I mean, that's just something that I came up with off the top of my head here, but I think that's about the range where you should just assume your opponent is going to do that in anything except for random 30. They're going to make a play on your turn that you probably don't want to happen. So I could erase this, I could Crystal Golem, block, draw to it. We did pass Lash. So I think what I'm going to do is Crystal Golem, block, break to draw 2. And then if I can draw out a Lash here, I think my opponent would make this play if they had a Lash in hand, then it can Hasty Retreat it. The Hasty Retreat will be extremely good if that is what happens. And if I don't, then just drawing 2 and blocking this is a good use for Crystal Golem as well. Erase is also a solid play here, but I think I'm assuming my opponent has a Lash here, and I want to Hasty Retreat that after Lash. Alright, they don't. Which is fine. Alright, my turn's going to start. So, Knight of Alara is another example of an establishing play. If you play this and you draw a card, then worst case scenario, they remove it and you spend your gold to draw cards. So if they were to play a 7/7 airborne ambush, when I played Knight of Alara, I would come out ahead because I would draw a card, I'd probably deal 10 damage to them, and then they would probably deal 7 damage to me on my turn. I'm going to have a faster clock, and I'm not going to lose any cards in hand. So that's just a good example of using the baseline. But the reason establishing champions are important is so that if it's your turn, or establishing plays I should say, if it's your turn and you're going first, or your opponent went first and they passed to you, you don't just pass back. You have a way to take advantage of the fact that it's your turn. Alright, they're going to reveal Brachiosaurus and a Rain of Fire to draw a card. This is it. Look, they played a 7/7 ambush airborne with upside. So, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, so when our opponent played Veldin here and just attacked, I think that play was a weak first turn because it gets blocked by anything. I have these zombie tokens out that are just going to chump that pretty easily. So This is a card I like to use, either bounce a bunch of things my opponent has, and then I'm setting my gold first in that case, but I get to be aggressive with it. I get to do something even if it gets removed by an erase or something like that. It still has some utility. Or my opponent spent their gold already, and then I can just hit them for 10. If I only had Draka's Enforcer in play and then I attack with Draka's Enforcer, they drain Essence it, for example, or fires a Rebellion it. Then I can play this Veldin and attack for 10, and now I'm either going to force them to use a 0-cost card to basically not take 10 damage, or they take 10 and then I have this, either way, I have this giant threat in play for the rest of the game. So that's really what the tempo is about in this game, is you want to try and put yourself in a position where even if the opponent has a good follow-up, you don't want to be making plays assuming the opponent doesn't have anything good to play. You want to be making plays assuming they do, and then if they don't, then you win. And here I'm blocking because I don't want to spend my gold first, especially to erase that. That would be a very weak play because it would probably get replayed to bounce my Murderous Necromancer. Alright, it looks like Rain of Fire is, they're going to finish this off with something. There's a Lash. Very interesting. Because it felt like they had a Lash in hand, but maybe not. So I am going to go ahead and erase and get rid of this Veldin here. I could get rid of this Draka's Enforcer. They might not have loyalty to use it again, but in general, I prefer getting rid of slow champions to fast ones. So, when I say slow versus fast, it's old terminology, but I prefer getting rid of champions that don't have ambush. Just because it tends to bottleneck your opponent's plays more. Alright, so, we've got a sweet Necromancer Lord here. Let's go ahead and do it. I'll reveal the same to... I guess I showed Thrasher, Demon, Wither last time, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I did. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again and bring back the Murderous Necromancer. We are going to be taking 7 again, which isn't great. But, it's a pretty good spot, I'd say. 7 puts us at 16th. So we're not too low. He is getting a little Denitrous. Like if I was them, I would have dealt 4 damage to me instead of one of the zombie tokens. I think dealing 4 damage to me is more relevant than removing a zombie token from play. Alright, they're going to Temporal Enforcer. Temporal Enforcer. Alright, so this is actually a very good thing for us because now we know what their hand is. It's Veldin, Chin of the Sands, and the last card is Brachiosaurus, which hasn't been played yet. They have no off-turn plays in hand. They're probably going to be forced to play that, I forget the name of it. The, Chin of the Sands to draw a card. They might play something to bounce this Necromancer Lord. That would be fine with me too. I'm going to go ahead and take this out by spending 2 cards. And they could recall Lash with their gold. That's another option they have. They might try and on their turn recall Lash. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a very good play. Could get in for 5 here. I know they don't have a way to punish us because they don't have any real answers. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start attacking for 5 with this Dark Knight. This will just help speed up our clock. I don't think I want to invest any more. The thing is, we know they don't have Flash Fire in their deck, so there aren't too many ways they could answer this big board efficiently. But it's not really worth pushing it, in my opinion. This is already a lot to have invested. This way I keep the loyalty too in case they decide to return this Necromancer Lord to my hand with Veldin. You know, ironically, I think this deck ended up being more of a 0-cost champion bounce deck than that last one, just incidentally, because we have Reset. We have some good bounce cards, we have Time Walker. Alright, I'm going to take 7 here. Don't think it's worth haste retreating yet. would be an okay haste retreat. But just because Lash is still there, there's a high chance I'm going to get value out of that. If they play Gin of the Sands attack for 8, I'll probably haste retreat it. But, yeah. Alright, they're going to play a wild card. So we're going to get to know their whole hand. Unless they play like Fire Spirit. This is an example where Resurrection would be amazing. Alright, let's go ahead and draw 2 cards with Reset. I'll deal 2 damage to them. Alright, this Time Walker might be very, very good. I'm going to see. I think it is going to be very good. Let's go ahead. Oh, you know what? I know what's in their hand. The only play they can make is Recall Lash. That's the only thing they can do right now. So I'm going to go ahead and deal 2 damage to them. And then I will attack for 5. Just force one of those things to block. It's unbreakable on our turn, so it really doesn't make for a very effective blocker. I have plenty of zombie tokens. They've Beldin Gin of the Sands, so they could get greedy here and just Recall Lash. Right. Alright, this is perfect. Everything's coming together. Alright, they're going to Lash Force Mage Apprentice. Alright. See how they block here. And I'll try and do something tricky with this Thrasher Demon. Alright, that's good. So we can take out this Kong with Thrasher Demon, or they can take a bunch of damage. Either way, sounds good to me. Probably going to go ahead and attack with Thrasher Demon and a zombie token for 5. And then, if they, well, we could see, what's the other option? We could get in for 4, 5, 6, 7, and then Time Walker, and then get in for another 8. Yeah, that sounds better. It's a lot of damage. Yeah, so here, what I'm going to do is just overload them on plays, basically. Most people, if you just keep attacking with tokens, will eventually block because they don't want to. They don't want to get blown out by, or they don't want to just take all of it and then die to some kind of direct damage. But I think they know some of these cards. They definitely know about Thrasher Demon. Well, let's go ahead and get in with Thrasher Demon. They might decide to just trade with Kong, which I'd also be happy with. This breaks anything it deals damage to, so I guess to take out that Kong for free. Now, oh, I mean I could just get it for 10. That was a 2. Then we die on the crackback. I mean, we don't die, but take 7 and go to 9. I'll just Time Walker. It's a pretty good Time Walker here. We get to go ahead and attack for 5 again. Now, the Haste Retreat is going to come in handy here, since it's going to act as a safety net in the event they decide they want to just play a Blitz Champion and attack us. But yeah, probably the way you want to use cards like Time Walker and Reset is actually to gain multiple attacks out of your zero-cost champions or multiple tribute effects. So here I got to attack twice with Dark Knight, once by attacking normally, and then a second time by Time Walkering it back into my hand and then playing and attacking with it again. Here, if they decide to take 3 from Thrasher Demon, they would actually be dead, because they'd be taking another 3 out of it. And then, well, I guess they wouldn't be dead. They'd be at 1. So here, if I was them, assuming the card I drew is irrelevant, it's probably it's probably Velden. Bounce my Time Walker back to hand. Well, that's a pretty weak play. But they have to do something. They could Brachiosaurus pass, or Brachiosaurus. I mean, Brachiosaurus plus Draka's Enforcer is a weak play. Djinn of the Sands is a pretty weak play, just playing it here. You really want to use Djinn of the Sands as a Punisher, where it gets in for 8 in the air, and then on later turns you can use draw cards if there isn't an attack to make. Alright, so here, if I was them, I would actually choose not to bounce my Dark Knight, because now I get to replay it and block. So, because this has Ambush, you don't ever want to bounce your opponent's Ambush to Zero Cost Champions if you can help it, because they just get to replay it for free. So I am going to stop that attack, probably just with Haste Retreat here, which means I won't get to draw 2, but I'll play this Angel of Mercy as my gold. So it'll just be a 4/5 Airborne Ambush. It'll be a weak off-turn play, but it might be enough to close out this game. That was a slight misplay in playing that Angel of Mercy there. I should have passed, let them pass back, and then play the Angel of Mercy in case they wanted to play a Blitz Zero Cost Champion. Like if they just top decked Little Devil here, then it would definitely be a mistake for me to play Angel of Mercy. Yeah, I guess the mind games. Usually, I think you shouldn't try and make plays that rely on your opponent making a misplay, unless it's the only way you can win. But in this case, they could bounce my Time Walker, attack for 10 without bouncing this Dark Knight, and then they either hit me for 10, or I send my gold to do something, and this Dark Knight doesn't just sit in my hand for some other play. It's just strictly worse to have bounced this Dark Knight. I also get to know what the other card in hand is. It's a reusable knowledge. Draw a card, return a card from your discard pile to hand. So, me learning that I now perfectly know their hand, which is also a dangerous place to be. Here, on my turn, their only plays are Draka's Enforcer as a 7/7 Airborne blocker. They don't get to draw a card. Recall Lash, or play Reusable Knowledge, drawing a card and returning one of these 4 cards to hand. So that means they're basically forced to play Draka's Enforcer to block this Angel of Mercy, and then I can win with Knight of Alara. And if they know about Knight of Alara, which I guess they do from Time Walker, then that means their only play here is to Reusable Knowledge to hope to draw a card that saves them off the top of their deck, like a Second Wind recycling into a Lightning Strike to Lightning Strike my Angel of Mercy, something like that. Or Spike Trap. Oh, I didn't realize I had priority there. Alright, we're just going to go ahead and attack separately. Basically, if they spend their gold to play Draka's Enforcer, then we win automatically, so. Yeah, I just realized that was my bad. I'm just here forcing them to wait. Alright, it looks like they do know about Knight of Alara, so they are playing around it by trying to draw it out. It's going to be tough though. They need a zero cost answer to one of these two. And then they also need a zero cost answer to Knight of Alara. Well, that's pretty good. That's a good start. They could totally be back in this with a Spike Trap or a Lightning Strike. Or just another zero cost blocker. see. They had a zero cost blocker there, just take 4 here. I'm going to play the Knight of Alara anyway, because it draws me a card for free. And it's pretty good against pretty much anything. Yeah, I know, right? It should have a different color. I brought that up. I think it will. I'm not sure if it'll be in the next update. Alright, and that's the game. Let's see, what time is it? Alright, so that'll be my last game for today. But, good games. Those are some longer Dark Draft matches. But, I think they were good. Basically, in both of those games, I think were good examples of gold economy and trying to figure out when to spend your gold, whether you should be doing it right away or whether you should be holding off and just letting your opponent make their blocks and hit you for 2 or 4 and then just start your turn. I think is also usually a good play. I'm going to be signing off, but I'll be back on Wednesday. So, good night.